Again, we're commercial free until then. And here's our new feature. It is called The Chronicles of Riddick, where Louis Riddick will share some thoughts on some of the most interesting stories and games around the NFL. You got a feature. What do you think?
Hey, I like it, man. Especially like the shade. You know, I like a good pair of shades, Greeny. I like a good pair of shades, man. I will
tell you, it came down to Chronicles of Riddick or Lou's Clues. And we thought you might be more inclined to go with the first, and we weren't 100% sure you'd recognize the second.
It's all good, man. I love Chronicles of Riddick.
Fair
you made
enough.
a good choice. I appreciate you, man.
Okay, here's how it works. We're just going to have you share some thoughts on some of the biggest games of the weekend. And let's start with the Saints and the Eagles. Taysom Hill against Jalen Hurts. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me as far as Jalen Hurts. I'm all about setting up quarterbacks for success. We understand that is critical, especially when you're talking about young quarterbacks. And this one right here, I mean, Jalen Hurts could come out of this absolutely just being shell-shocked because the Saints defense, there's a reason why I believe they're the favorite in the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. They have got playmakers on all three levels. They have got speed, they have got depth, and they're playing with a sense of purpose right now that is unmatched. I just don't like how this is going to pan out for Jalen Hurts. I think it's going to get ugly.
Next up is Steelers-Bills. What a game. What are we thinking?
Yeah, this right now, look, Josh Allen really stepped into the limelight last week on Monday Night Football, the game we had against the 49ers. He has taken his game to a whole new level. There is more optimism and more excitement up there in Western New York now than there has been ever since, you know, the late 80s, early 90s when Jim Kelly and the K-Gun were just running rampant through the league. Josh Allen is without a doubt an MVP favorite right now. They can beat you in multiple different ways. Look for them to be against Kansas City in the AFC Championship game.
And then finally, you guys have a great one on Monday Night Football. The Ravens and the Browns. I know you're looking at the tape. What are you looking at?
Yeah, this one is just how good are the Browns? This is the biggest game that they've had in Cleveland maybe since January 1st, 1995, the last time they won a playoff game against the New England Patriots, a game that featured me. I was in it that day. But this is a big, big game for them. They need to beat a quality football team. And the Ravens absolutely stomped them opening weekend. The Ravens have owned them since Cleveland came back into the league back in 1999. This is a big-time statement game for Cleveland. That place, although it won't be full to capacity, Cleveland will be buzzing on Monday night because they need to show that win last week against the Tennessee Titans was just the beginning. That they are now a team to be reckoned with. And now it's not about hope anymore. It's about expectations. And the expectation needs to be in Cleveland that they are a contender and they are for real. And they need to show it on Monday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, outstanding. And Dominique, you know, that's your old team, the Ravens, that they play against. And I feel like early this season, the book on them was, well, they can't play against good teams because the Ravens blew them out and the Steelers blew them out. But they've proved some things. They look great against Tennessee. They look good against Indianapolis. They've played some better teams. Right. How do you see this one looking ahead to Monday night, Neek?
I mean, the thing about when you have a big win is it makes every game even more important. So they did have a big win last week. But that means nothing if they lose this week because they're, again, back to that thing that they can't perform against big teams. So this game gets even more important for them to find out who they are. And it's not necessarily important for us to see as much as it's important for them to convince themselves. And I watched that game against the Titans several times, and they were incredibly impressive. But I didn't see Baker Mayfield do the things that we had questions about him doing. Their play-action game left people wide open, and he made some good passes. He was fine there. The question I have for them is can he beat tight man coverage? And that is absolutely what he's going to see against the Ravens and that secondary that may be the most talented in the league. So it'll be a big question for Baker Mayfield. Can he take that next step and bring that college accuracy that we all love to the NFL in a big-time situation? So there's no bigger game in recent history in Cleveland than this one coming up.
That's right. And I will say, look, I'm just saying the Steelers play a very losable game this weekend against Buffalo. And Cleveland and the Steelers play each other the last week of the season. So the division is not gone yet if they wind up winning this game on Monday night. Shefty, what's your sense of the way things are going in Cleveland?
It could not be going any better in Cleveland right now. This is something we're talking about. The Browns on December 10th. They're relevant. They're compelling. They're intriguing. And whether they win the division or not, I think is secondary to the fact that the Browns are back. And Lewis will be in Cleveland on Monday night for that game. The last time the Browns played a playoff game there, Lewis played for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
How about that as a little fact to it? So, again, this is a team right now that's running the football. It's running the football well. It's playing good defense. Kevin Stefanski's done a great job there. The underrated hero, I think, of the offensive side of the football is Bill Callahan, who's got that run game going right now. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, the best 1-2 running back tandem in the NFL right now. I mean, the Cleveland Browns are playing like this. Makes the NFL a little bit more intriguing every year.
No question. And it is one of the better week matchups of the weekend, and we will have it for you Monday night on ESPN. Okay, let's look at some of the other when Dak Prescott was lost for the year after suffering a terrible ankle injury. Cowboys are 3-9. They're last in the NFC East. They have basically no chance to make the playoffs. But yesterday was the ultimate indignity. Yesterday they were flexed out of Sunday Night Football. The most televised team, the most watched team, America's team, moved out of a prime time slot. That was the ultimate slap in the face. And then yesterday, Marcus Spears, former Cowboy on NFL Live, said this.
Dak Prescott should want out of Dallas. All right, and I've been holding out and saying that. I've been thinking about, well, they did offer him a contract and all of that. Dak Prescott should want to find a new spot to play football.
That's obviously a really interesting thought. And Adam Schefter, I'm coming directly to you because what's your reaction to Marcus saying that?
Well, when he said it, it made me think. And it made me think that Dak's value, even in injury this year, actually has gone up. And the reason that you say that is because if you look around the league and look at all the teams that could use Dak Prescott, do you think Washington would pay to take Dak Prescott away from the Dallas Cowboys? Do you think Indianapolis might secure its future with where it's at? How about Chicago? How about Tampa Bay or New Orleans with veteran quarterbacks? There are any number of places that you could look at and say Dak Prescott would upgrade this franchise and set it up for the next decade. And so if you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're in the situation where you've been unable to get a long-term contract worked out with Dak the last couple of years, and you're going to have to franchise him this offseason for $38 million when the cap is going down and it's going to cost you players at other positions, that's going to be a tough spot. And if Dak declines to sign a long-term deal, then this is the last year that he'd have to stay in Dallas, and then he could hit the free agent market in the prime of his career, assuming he comes back healthy, pick his landing spot, basically name his price, the cap will go up with the new TV deal, and this right now, to me, as Marcus said that, is potentially shaping up as the story of the NFL offseason.
Listen, I can put some numbers to it. Vin Macy, one of our outstanding analytics experts, tweeted this, that in weeks 1 through 5, Louis Riddick, with Dak Prescott as their quarterback, the Cowboys averaged 31 points a game. That was third in the NFL. Since he's been gone, they average 15 points a game. That's second to worst. Only the Jets are behind them. So Shefty is right. His value has increased, I think, exponentially. So if you're a personnel person, Louis, which is your expertise, how do you view it?
Look, I mean, if I'm Dallas, if I'm sitting there and I'm the Dallas Cowboys right now and I'm advising Jerry Jones, I'm sitting here going, look, we kind of messed this up, man. We should have had this done because now he's got us right where he wants us, which is this. He's saying, hey, look, if you want to pay me $70 million cash over 2 years, meaning franchise tag in 2020 and 2021, that's fine. Go ahead, because you're not going to franchise me again in 2022. If you want to make a run at me as far as a long-term deal is concerned, it's going to cost you, and it's going to cost you a lot. So I've got you right where I want you again. Then if you want to let me hit the free agent market and say, hey, well, go ahead out there and see what people think of you in terms of a quarterback coming off of a major injury, he's got you again because you know this, as we've already alluded to, as we already talked about. Before he got hurt, he was ripping it up. He's a guy who has impeccable credentials from a character standpoint, and every team wants that. Really, for Dak right now, what he's having to figure out is this. Look, either way, he's going to get his money. He's going to be good. The question is this, and we talk about this all the time. What kind of environment and organization does he want to be around? Does he want to be around some place that from a coaching standpoint, he's got the people who are going to put him in the best position to succeed play after play, week after week, year after year? Does he have a general manager that's going to put the team around him and build it in the proper way to help him win football games and establish his legacy as not someone who just cashed in, but someone who won championships?